Today we're going to talk about situational awareness. Basically, that's just looking around, seeing what's around us, so that we can see what's around us, so that we can keep ourselves safe, we can keep the people we work with safe, keep our equipment from getting broken, keep claims down on the state so we can save money, but mostly so we can keep y'all safe. Because as I'm going to say a few different times, and I know Scott, my partner who's going to do his part later, is going to say, we do this so that you guys can stay safe, so you can go home after work and go home to your family, do the things you want to do. You don't have to worry about getting hurt at work. We don't come to work to get hurt. So situational awareness. Looking around us, know what's going on. I'm going to take a look at this dude right here. Can you guys see that okay? I know it's a little blurry with the light here. Is he being situationally aware? Is he aware of his surroundings, do you think? This dude's got a shark about to bite his head off. Okay, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, that was a little joke. There's three main things that I'm going to look at each little section here. Three words I'm going to keep coming back to. Look, think, and act. Okay? Look, use our eyes, look around us, think, have a plan, and act, execute it. One of the first things that we do when we go out, before we hit the road, before we go out and do the things we do every day, one of the first things we should pay attention to is the gear that we use to keep us safe. That's our PPE, our personal protection equipment. Up here on the screen you can see a few different kinds. We have hard hats, we have our vests, we have our eye protection, if we need eye protection for what we're doing. A lot of times we do, especially if you're working outside. Foot protection. Some statistics here: more than 4,000 U.S. workers were killed on the job. That's back from 2014. I don't really know what the current number is, but it doesn't change too much year to year. 1 in 5 workplace fatalities last year were in the construction industry. Okay, what we do at DOTD, we're kind of like construction. We're construction adjacent, if nothing else. Some of those come from falls. Some come from electrocutions. Sometimes struck by an object or caught in between things. Those are all different kinds of accidents that we can have. But since 1970, workplace deaths have been reduced by more than 60%, and occupational injuries have declined 40%. That's due to us using our PPE, at least in part, the things that we use to keep us safe. So, look to make sure you have all your PPE, make sure you have your vest, make sure you have your hard hat if that's something that you need for the job that day. Think, remember to wear it. I know I've had several times when I'll drive up, that's part of my job as a safety officer, is to drive through some of the work sites that y'all be at, and I'll see a guy see me coming, jump back in his truck real quick, put his safety vest back on, jump back out. I'm like, why didn't you just have it on? If you're outside, if you're on the road and you're working, put it on. It's simple, right? And act. Keep your PPE in good shape. Sometimes those vests, they get dirty, and when they get dirty and old, then they're not as reflective as they once were when you first got them, so they don't work as well. Get new stuff when it's worn out, and encourage other employees to do the same. Make sure that the guy you're working with is also being safe, because if he's safe, chances are you're going to be more safe. Another thing we can do to help increase our situational awareness, increase our ability to know what's going on, is to have a daily pre-job safety briefing, or a little safety meeting just prior to us getting ready to do what we're going to do. We get out to the job site and we have a 1 to 2 minute conversation. Here's what we're going to be doing today, guys. We're going to be patching these potholes over here. We're going to be digging out this ditch over here. We're going to be cutting these trees back. Here's some things you need to watch out for. There's some unlevel ground over here. Obviously, we know, and I'm going to cover this a little bit more in a few minutes, that there's going to be traffic coming through what we do. That's always something to watch out for. A little conversation right before we get started can help us remember to be safe. So, going along with that, watch out for traffic. About 700 people were killed, 5 in Louisiana, while working on the highway construction projects, and this is from 2015. Again, the numbers don't change all that much year to year, but I don't want one of you guys to be one of those 5 in Louisiana. Do you? I'm sure you don't. So watch out for traffic. Of course, you can't control. That's one of the things that is something you can't control. You can't control how some guy's going to blow through your work zone, but we keep our PPE on. We use like the paddle like he's using right there, slow and stop. We use it the right way. We do what we can to try to increase our safety, the safety of the people we work with, and the safety of the public too. We also are in danger from our own equipment. We get claims a lot from somebody that was using a piece of machinery or a tool. We'll talk a little bit more about tools in a minute. Where somebody used something the wrong way, or they just weren't paying attention. Maybe they were in a hurry and they either get their hand caught in something or maybe hit their head on something that's our own equipment. Workers in temporary traffic control work areas are exposed to risk of injury from construction vehicles and motorized equipment. And that can be around the work zone. It can be in secondary areas that support the work zone, like batch plants where they mix the asphalt and all that kind of stuff, and entering and leaving the work zone. Those are all different places where we as the workers can be in danger from our own equipment. So, again, look, think, and act. Look at the workplace around you. Be aware of the potential hazards. Think, where do I need to get to if an emergency with traffic or equipment arises? Act. Be ready to deal with an emergency. Have a first aid kit in your truck. Be trained how to use it, or at least know the person on your crew who is trained to use it. Because sometimes not everybody is, but chances are somebody in your crew should be. Know who that person is. Make somebody responsible for calling 911 if necessary. If a situation comes up and somebody has to go to the hospital, select somebody to do it. I see this guy's got a name tag, so I'm going to pick on you. Be like, Adam, call 911. See? Make that person responsible. Because sometimes if there's sometimes if there is a kind of out of control situation, or we're like, oh my gosh, this thing just happened, and we go, oh, someone's gonna call 911, then somebody, we might get some of that deer in the headlights kind of if you just kind of throw it out there. So make somebody responsible for it. Any other potential hazards that I didn't talk about on the road besides traffic or our own equipment? What's some other things that can cause danger to us while we're out there working?
Wildlife.
Say. Snake, wildlife, yeah, exactly. I'll get that in just a second. Yeah, but wildlife, snakes or other animals can bite us. Sure, yeah. Weather conditions. This guy back here held up his phone. I'm assuming you're talking about people driving like this. Yeah. Holy cow, that's scary, huh? Yeah, I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Makeup.
Or girls doing their makeup. Yeah, just anything that's distracting them from driving, right? All those kind of things. Yes, anything that's distracting them. But anyway. So, next part here. Be aware when you're using tools. Maybe this can even be something that happens even if you're not on the road. Maybe you're in the shop or something like that, and working on one of the vehicles, if that's something that you do, or performing maintenance on some of your equipment. For instance, chainsaws. Using chainsaw chaps and using hearing and eye protection. Be aware of what you need to have on you, with you, while you're using your equipment. Be aware of that. Situational awareness. Always look around. If you're using pickaxes or shovels or any kind of thing where you're swinging something around, you could hurt somebody. Protect yourself and those around you by communicating with other workers. We had an incident up in my district where there was 2 guys. They were breaking rocks up by using a pickaxe. And one was standing this way and the other was standing this way. One of them bent down. The other one was coming down. He wasn't paying attention. Knocked the dude in the head with the pickaxe. Now, it could have been a lot worse. He only had to get stitches. But seriously, that's kind of scary when you think about it. And that's something that could have been easily avoided. Communicate. Hey, I'm down here. Or maybe we should spread out our work zone a little bit, you know. That's something that could be covered in a pre-job conference as well. If you know that's what you're going to be doing. You know, I'm going to come over here, you're going to go over there. And if we make any changes to that, we're going to holler. You know, communicate with each other. That can save a life. That can prevent a lot of injury right there. Another thing I just thought of, going back to things out in the work area that could hurt us or cause us problems, is poison ivy or ants or anything like that. I know we said wildlife, but I've gotten personally a lot of claims from people sometimes if they're out there pulling weeds and stuff. And that goes back to our PPE as well, you know, using gloves to protect our hands. We're going to talk about that in a little bit too. Let's see. So. Oh, did I go right one? Hold on. Oh, okay. So that brings me to my next point. Protect your digits, your fingers. Wear your gloves. Some tools are irreplaceable. Protect your hands. I love Homer. Homer's a good guy. Anyway, but yeah, there's lots of different hand injuries that we can have. Bee stings. I don't know if y'all can read all this from back there. Someone read them to you. Bee stings, chemicals. You can have broken bones, punctures, insect bites, carpal tunnel, which is kind of more of a long-range thing. That's not something you just get at one time, but it's from repetitive work. Temperature extremes, whether really hot or really cold. Cuts, pinch points, all those things can hurt our hands. Okay? I was just thinking of another one that we had in our district. We had a guy that was a welder, and what he did was some of the slag from the welding came out, and it went in his glove. And this is what he did, and this is kind of sad, but it's also just a little bit funny. He shook off the glove to get that off of his hand because the slag was in there. But when he did that, he forgot he still had the torch in this hand, and he went like this, and he burned his hand. Like, it's like, yeah, it was kind of scary. It's like he didn't really get hurt so much from what went in there. It was more his reaction. Be situationally aware. Sometimes that's hard when you got just a really quick thing that happens like that, and you're like, oh, happens really quick. So anyways, yeah, don't be like Homer. Protect your digits. Let's see, where am I now? Okay, so again, look, make sure your tools are in good shape. Make sure correct PPE is available and used. Think, be trained how to use the tools correctly and safely. If you don't know how to use a piece of equipment, don't use it. Get somebody that does. Get some training. Don't be afraid to ask. Act. Ask for help when it's needed. Don't be in a rush. Communicate. I know sometimes y'all will be out there working and you only have a certain amount of time to get something done. But don't be in so much of a rush that it's going to cause you or somebody else to get hurt, because that's just not worth it. And that ends up just taking more time anyway, so it really doesn't work. Let's see. Okay, my last little section here is going to be on another aspect of being situationally aware, and it kind of comes from some things that you may have seen on the news lately. Be aware of other dangers, specifically active shooter. That's a thing that happens nowadays. It could happen in a building. It could happen out on your work site. When an active shooter is present, if you see somebody brandishing a firearm or firing and you hear that, or if you see somebody acting in an aggressive manner and it looks like they might be, about ready to do something like that, the 3 things they tell you to do: run, hide, fight. Run is the first one. Okay? Run, get out of there. Get out of there, leave stuff behind if you have to. Encourage other people you work with to get out of there as well. Because again, and have them leave their stuff if they need to. Don't worry about bringing your belongings, because stuff can be replaced. People can't be replaced, right? So we run, we get to a safe area, and then we hide. Okay? We don't want to be, a hero. We're not trying to, do all that kind of thing. We're trying to get to a safe place where we can be out of the line of sight. Okay? If you're in a building, you barricade the door, you get real quiet, silence your cell phone. But if you can, that's a good time to call 911 and get law enforcement there, because that's who really needs to deal with that problem. The very, very last thing to do, if you absolutely have to, is to fight. And generally, when they talk about this in a bigger safety meeting with fight, they usually are talking about it like in an office setting where people have to improvise weapons, like anything like a stapler or a clipboard or a chair or tape, just anything you can put in your hand that if you absolutely have to, shooter comes through the door even though you barricaded it and there's nothing else you can do, you take him down, subdue him as quickly as possible, and then wait for law enforcement to get there. That is obviously not the first option. Hopefully it's not the option you ever have to use, but if that should happen, then it's something you be prepared for,
I'm pretty slow.
Well,
I can pick the shovel up or something.
anyway,
Ain't no running.
so then hide. Try to.
There better be some big old trees up.
Anyway, look, be aware when someone is acting in an aggressive manner. If they're carrying a weapon or a body armor, or if there's any other kind of telltale signs, think. Keep calm, but be determined in what you're going to do. Know where you're going to go. Be safe there. And act. Call 911. That's the main thing. Get law enforcement there, because that's their job. If you have to fight, that's the last one. We run, we hide, and if we absolutely have to, we fight. And when law enforcement gets there, they tell you to just do whatever they tell you to do. They say get on the ground, get on the ground. They say put your hands up, put your hands up. Whatever it is they tell you to do. They may even run in and push you to the ground to get to the shooter. Don't get offended. That's their job. They don't know who the active shooter is at that point. Just be there. Okay. My conclusion: having situational awareness can save you, your coworkers, and prevent injuries and property damage. Didn't really talk a lot about property damage, but a lot of this, looking around, making sure we know where everything is, being well trained on the equipment that we use, and all of those kind of things, that can help, stuff from getting broken too, as well. But that's not as important as you. You're more important than the equipment. Okay. And then finally, just my 3 words again. If you want, please say it out loud with me. Look, think, act. All right, guys. Thanks for your time.